Pop quiz. What's 80% air, soft where you want it, firm where you need it, made in a lab, and breathes? The GelFlex Grid. And only Purple mattresses have it. It's a super stretchy, ultra squishy material that adapts and flexes around pressure points and doesn't retain heat. Purple mattresses cradle, support, and soothe, giving you the best night's sleep ever. And right now, get a free set of sheets and a pillow with the purchase of select Purple mattresses at purple.com/sleepwell. Terms apply.
KFI AM 640, Conway Show. Ding dong. KLAC is home to the LA Dodgers, also home to one of the best radio programs in the business, the Petros and Money Show. And half of that team is with us, Matt Money Smith. How you, bub?
Hey, Dawson Conway Jr. How are we?
Look at you, man. Hey, I thought of you first because I know you're well connected, and I know you have a great sense of what's funny and what's not funny. So when Norm Macdonald passed away, you're one of the few guys I reached out to. Did you ever know him? Did you ever meet him?
No. I mean, not. I wouldn't say know him. No,
right.
He was close with the Kimmel guys, whom I was close with. So just kind of through that relationship, just kind of sort of small here or there meetings in passing, but by no means would I say that I knew him. But I know those guys absolutely adored him, and they got pretty darn good judge of character. Yeah,
he was. He truly was one of my favorites, like top 2-3 guys. And it was
Absolutely.
really.
Did you know him? He was a friend of yours.
You know what? I met him. He used to come on with us when we were working over at the FM talk station. He'd come in once a month, and he had no material that he came with, but he was on for an hour, and we could not stop laughing. The guy could read a newspaper and bust you up.
It is 100% true, and I think there are very few people that can do that, where you just put something in front of them and they have a magical way about how they describe things, and it was almost like he had his own language,
right?
Like he was.
Right.
It wasn't the way he told. It wasn't the jokes that he told. It was the way that he told them. It was so damn funny.
It was great, and he could literally take a 20-second joke turned into 7 minutes, and he was even funnier than the 20-second joke. But
completely, and you're just howling.
We had Adam Carolla on, and this is probably something you've dealt with as well. And Adam said to me, hey, Norm was on with you guys all the time. Do you have some old tape? And I said, funny you say that. I was looking today in the hundreds of old CDs and MP3s and all that, those old tapes that you have. And I was looking through it, and every one of our CDs was labeled Conway and Steckler, and then just the date, October 5th,
Thanks.
September 9th. And he made a great point, and it made him crazy, that people in the old days, people 100, 200, 500 years ago, were better at labeling than now when you have labelers.
That's the thing about Adam, and Adam is very similar to Norm.
Right.
And I can't how many times, obviously I know Adam very well, and how many times he would just start, and it was like we would just be sitting and watching football or hanging out or doing whatever, and someone would just go, hey Adam, coffee stirs. Coffee stirs. See, what's the point of, putting holes in them? Am I supposed to drink out of that? Because it's too thin to really drink out of it, so why isn't it just solid? It really confuses me. And then you do take a sip and you burn your mouth. Terrible invention, coffee stir. And it's just what he would do, and that was Norm. Like, that was exactly how Norm, they are very similar in the way they operate comedy.
When he said, he had a great point, too. He said, it's not, that you miss people who you're not done with yet. We weren't done listening to Norm Macdonald. And he said, on the other hand, he was done with his dad in about 1973.
So good. For people, and I would just say this, for people that aren't super familiar with Norm, just Google Norm tells moth joke on Conan. It is one of my favorite. It is one of my absolute. favor. You should know it's coming, and you just don't, and you can't stop laughing, and there's no humor in it. It's just the way he's telling. And then when the punchline comes, you're like, oh, my God, he's genius.
It's great.
He is genius.
By the way, did you hear the backstory of that joke?
No.
He was on with Conan O'Brien, and, they told him he's going to do one segment. And anytime a comedian comes on, they prepare for as many seconds as they're going to be on, and that's it. They don't over prepare. Right. They don't come on with 20 minutes of material and then they're on for 5. So he's on for a 7-minute segment, and then Conan says, we'll be right back with Norm Macdonald. And Norm Macdonald, during the break, goes, oh, F. He goes, I thought you were going to have an animal guy come out here, a guy come out and show, the newest Christmas toys. And he says, I got nothing left. And and Conan says, just tell a joke. And he says, I know one, I got one joke. So it was a 20-second joke that he had heard from another comedian, and he made it 7 minutes because he had no other material.
It's so good.
Isn't
and
that
it
great?
Is brilliant. Norm Macdonald, just the way he tells, the details, the meandering,
right.
the fact that he's kind of giggling a little bit in the middle of it. Oh, it's so good.
Right. And the fact that he got it on the way in from the limo driver.
Right. Oh, so good.
It is fantastic.
It is so.
Hey,
did you ever see him did you see him because he did that sports show on Comedy Central.
It was fantastic. It was great.
Yeah, he worked there. Did you see the all the press conferences he would go to? And the insane questions he would ask were so genius.
I didn't see that, unfortunately. I noticed, I love this little subtle things he did, like disappointed Bill Cosby.
God.
It's so great. It's just Bill Cosby shaking his head. Yeah. For people that never saw it, I think it might have made the rounds on Twitter. But when Blake Griffin won the Rookie of the Year for the Clippers, right,
Norm Macdonald was in the room in the press conference where they were, they presented him with the award, and he answered some questions. And Norm gets the microphone and he goes, I don't know if you're aware of this, Blake, but nobody's ever repeated. What do you got to say about that? It's so good.
I bet you Norm's the kind of guy, that I don't know I know a couple of people that knew him, but I don't know anybody who's ever been to his house or knew where he lived or anything like that. And I bet if Norm, if the word was out that Norm died and that was all wrong, but he heard all these people on TV and online and on the radio talk about how great he is, he probably would have said, oh, Christ, I should have kept better, taken better care of myself. I didn't know that anybody ever even cared about me. That's the kind of guy he was.
True. So underappreciated.
Unbelievable.
And I mean, just because I'm such a jerk and a bad person, God, that I love the OJ jokes. Just how bad they were and ill-timed, and everyone would cringe. And you know me, I love uncomfortable situations more than anyone on earth, and I would laugh hysterically. I would not be able to control myself and how uncomfortable he made people with them.
It was great. And he got fired over it. And he was asked, 10 times to stop doing them, and they fired him over it.
Yeah, it's so great.
It is really
great. They
were
so good. Every one of them was genius.
I know. By the way, if you just look up Norm Macdonald OJ jokes, there's about a 23-minute reel, and it's all OJ jokes that got him fired from SNL.
Yeah.
All right, hold on one sec. Matt Money Smith is with us. We'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about football. He is the voice of the Los Angeles Chargers, who are getting off to a great start, and there's a great buzz about that team here in Los Angeles. We're live on KFI. It's Conway Show on KFI AM 640. More now with Mark Ronner. KFI AM 640. Matt Money Smith is with us from the Petros and Money Show. Hey, are you? I know you're the voice with the LA Chargers. Are you traveling with the team, or are you still back at home?
No, I'm traveling.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
we were in DC for the opener.
That was a great opener, man.
It was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was great to be back. There were fans in the stadiums. Everyone's talking about, like the energy and how great is it. And it's funny, as someone who calls the game, I was so used to calling games from either a studio or an empty stadium last year that I'm all hoarse at halftime. I'm like, God, why is my voice so thin? What's going on? And I had forgot that, if you don't pay attention, you keep speaking louder and louder, and before you know it, you're yelling the game because you account for all the noise. Like you can't hear yourself. So I
That's
forgot what
awesome.
that was like, and that you have to ignore that you can't hear yourself, and try to push harder and harder and harder. So, yeah, it took me about a half to figure that out.
You know, it's a tough game to call at the beginning of the season because you've got to get all your San Diego Charger, Washington Redskins off your mind before you open up the mic.
Yeah, obviously with the Chargers, it's my 5th year, so that's been pretty easy.
Right.
The Washington football team is in its 2nd year, so and then when they score a touchdown, the fans don't give a crap. They're singing "Hail to the Redskins," so that doesn't help. Try to make sure you kind of move on from that. But I think I ended up. I don't typically call the Chargers Los Angeles, but I ended up doing a lot of Los Angeles, Washington in that game, and it just kind of helped me stay away from. Yeah, so that's kind of how I was able to sort of mitigate it, and thankfully I did not have a single hiccup in that one.
Oh, that's great. It's difficult. Yeah. I mean, when you grow up, look, I can still take a box of 1975 baseball cards, and you can cover up the team, and I can tell you every guy and who that team and what that guy who he played for, because guys stuck around for sometime most of the time their whole career on one team. And you get that name stuck in your head.
Minimum wage. They made minimum wage, and they sold shoes in the off season.
Right, exactly. But you get but you get that name stuck in your head, Washington Redskins. Totally. Like, to me, it'll always be the Washington Redskins, and one of the reasons I'm not calling games.
I don't know. I think there's some other reasons, Tim.
Hey, so it's so great that football is back. Last night we had Erica Shanks on with us, talking about NASCAR, wow. And they're bringing NASCAR to the Coliseum.
Huh?
Oh, man, I got to stay close with those guys, right?
Right. Look at that.
But, man, these games on TV, we forget that, during the pandemic, you're watching everything. You're watching Netflix and all that stuff, and you forget how great the game of football is, that you can watch two teams. You've never been to either city. You don't know any of the players, and you can watch every play and not have a second of boredom. It's the greatest game ever.
It is. It really is. NFL foot. There's nothing remotely close to NFL football. I mean, the game that's, not to take any listeners away from this scintillating conversation we're having, Tim Conway Jr., but like what's going on right now between the Washington football team and the Giants, it's just crazy. It's like every primetime game we've had this year. The Monday nighter with the Raiders and Ravens, the Thursday nighter with the Cowboys and Bucks, and now we've got it with the Giants and the Washington football team. It's just crazy what they've been able to put out there to remind everyone, this is why 90,000 people wait 2 hours to get into the parking lot and 3 hours to get out of it, because this is what they get to see and the energy they get to be part of when they show up. Right.
And now, your first home opener at SoFi is going to be this week, right?
Yeah, with fans. Yeah. So remember last year we were there the whole year, but there was nobody in the stadium but us.
Right,
so,
with fans.
Yeah, this will be, and it's going to be crazy. Like, it'll be absolutely nuts with the Cowboys. I mean, there's a reason why they're called America's team. They've been practicing in preseason out in California for 20, even more than that. I think it's been in Oxnard for 15 years. And I think overall it's like 30-some years, like 35 years they've been coming here. So there's a lot of Cowboys fans in Southern California. So it's going to be super electric in there, and I cannot wait.
Hey, in your opinion, and I know they probably don't like you to talk much about this, but are there more fights in the stands, or are there more cameras now?
I would say more cameras. The NFL has always, because tailgating is such a prominent part of the game day experience, that guys aren't out there having a glass of wine. They're out there pounding beers. So by the time they get in there, they're 7-8 beers in. And we all know, our decision-making comes into question when we're that deep. And so, it's a violent game. These guys start getting their adrenaline going a little bit. Testosterone levels rise when they see, grown men out there beating the snot out of each other. And next thing you know, they want to be part of it. And the best way to do that is to beat some other drunk up.
And it's such a tribal event. Like before, like when you go to a Lakers game or a Kings game, there was a fight in the stand. You would always, like, if you were close by, you could always identify the instigator and the guy who's the victim. But when you're at a football game and you're wearing, it's just whoever's wearing San Diego jerseys, you're going to fight the guy wearing Cowboys jerseys. That's it.
Yeah, I'll tell you this too. Like, just in my experience, at least this is a theory I have. As someone who kind of grew up in an area where, whatever it was, and it was also the time that we grew up, right? There were just a ton of fights because there was no threat of getting shot or any of that stuff. Guys just got into fist fights. It's what you did. Back then you kind of had to learn on the fly, and you'd get your ass kicked a little bit, and then you kind of sort of figure it out and kind of come up with your own style. And, I'm kind of more of a wrestler guy, or I'm just going to tackle the guy in the midsection and bury my head in his chest and start pounding away, whatever. That's my style. Like, I think now people have seen so many of these fights on because of the cameras that, like, if you study it, you can recognize those that pay close attention. They realize, oh yeah, there's no more trash talking. I'm just going to be the guy that as soon as he approaches me, I'm taking a huge swing. Right. And if I connect, he's going down, and I'm just going to keep swinging. And that's the way all of these fights go. Like, someone's too drunk, and all they're doing is barking, and the other guy just takes a giant swing.
Right, and he knocks him out.
The hell out of him.
I do miss the Great Western Forum, and before that the Fabulous Forum. Whenever Philadelphia or the Rangers came into town, there were a lot more fights in the stands than on the ice, and that was part of the the price of the ticket. That was the entertainment. I mean, you got a lot out of it.
100%. And you know what? I remember one of the first times that I hit that tipping point where I'm like, yeah, this ain't for me anymore. I was at the Coliseum for a Raider game. We were in college, and we all went to the Coliseum for a Raider game. I have no idea why, but for whatever reason, well, I know why, because I'm an idiot. But, for some reason, these guys behind me were just relentless and just, talking so much crap. And I was like, you know what? I don't want anything to do with this. I'm just going to turn this one down, and I'm just going to move section because I want nothing to do with these guys behind me. And I think I was probably 21 or something. And I was like, yeah, I'm done with it.
I know, but
I feel like my fighting career is now retired. I'm retired.
I know, and you feel like, at least for me, I feel like such a coward, but I feel like I did the right choice. I made the right choice.
Recognize, and look, gosh knows I've made enough terrible choices in that category as well, but. That was one where I was like, I know how this goes. I kind of have a good idea how this story's going to end.
Right.
So in this choose your own adventure, I'm going to turn to page 65 and avoid the Yeti and see if I can continue living.
That's right. Buddy, I really appreciate you coming on. Congratulations. A great buzz around that team. I know the Chargers had a big vaccine drive where they're giving away free tickets, and that really, everything helps the fan base. But I think that, with this new quarterback and the new buzz, the new coach and everything, I think there really is a lot of people that want to see this team.
Exactly right. Go get the jab, get yourself some tickets. And
yes.
I mean, heck, those things are like $200 for get-ins.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to make $400. You and somebody go get that jab if you haven't done it already and get into that game. That's a pretty sweet deal.
Right. It makes guys like me who got the jab for nothing feel like I got ripped off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What the heck? Nothing. You know what I got out of it? A hurt arm.
Right.
That's what I got.
Yeah, hurt arm, a headache, and nausea.
Well, I told you my story. I got the first vax, and they were like, make sure you hydrate. And it was my buddy's birthday, and I went out and got absolutely drunk as hell. And I woke up the next morning as dehydrated as anyone in the history of the world. And I was like, oh, this is not good.
And you still got it?
No. I got the vaccine. And they told me to make sure I hydrated.
Oh, I see.
But
right.
it was my friend's birthday, so we went out drinking. And so not only did I not hydrate, I made sure I really dehydrated myself with about 15 beers in my body.
Good idea.
It was not a good combo. But it was great. I highly recommend it. I felt wonderful.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming on. Good luck with that team, bub. See you around the halls.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You got it.
Dig dong with you, buddy. All right, there he goes. Matt Money Smith. That guy's great. Half of the Matt Money Smith, Petros Papadakis, Petros and Money Show over on KLAC, home of the Dodgers. We're live on KFI. More news now with Mark Ronner.
Ron likes to get the most out of everything.
Sir, it's all you can eat, not all you can fill your pockets.
So he uses the Zebra to get the most out of car insurance. Because insurance is like a buffet. It's easier to find value when you can compare your top options side by side.
Just a salad bowl of ribs. Nice, Ron.
No matter who you are, where you live, or what you drive, the Zebra can match you with your perfect policy. Start comparing at thezebra.com/iHeartRadio, pairing people with policies.
Sports is about peak performance, and Audible has ways to enhance yours. Check out the end of this episode for more details.
KFI AM 640. It's Conway Show. Ding dong. All right, we have the NFL. We were talking to Matt Money Smith about the NFL. Man, they've had unbelievable games for their Thursday opening game. And then Monday night at the Raiders in Las Vegas and tonight's game. They got 3 winners so far. And it's the greatest sport ever. Greatest sport ever, man. You wake up on Sunday and you know what you're doing every Sunday from now until, January. But they also had a great home opener in Las Vegas. And the sports book, let's see if they took a bath here.
The NFL season started with the defending Super Bowl champs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, defeating the Dallas Cowboys. And you better believe sports betting for this game and also the upcoming weekend is going to be huge for Las Vegas and the sports books.
That's right. And 13 Action News reporter John Dommel shows us what casinos are expecting this year.
Oh, yeah, the casinos are going to be crazy, right? They got a team right there in Vegas now.
Sports betting is a culture, and NFL football is just another major draw as it continues to get bigger and bigger.
We were asleep at the wheel way back when. Now we're gathering momentum.
It seems like every casino is following a trend. Sports podcast studio and sports betting apps.
You don't want to be left out in the cold. It used to be, okay, I could care about the guy next door. Now, if he has something you don't, you better jump on board.
And betting on those apps is what gave Las Vegas a pulse during the hardest points of the pandemic.
Even when the casino was closed last year, we were still taking bets, but people were afraid to come in. When we had occupancy restrictions, we were still taking bets in the sports book.
The first week of the NFL regular season is financially huge, and right behind the Super Bowl and March Madness in dollar signs.
The sportsbook did more business last year than maybe any other department in the casino.
Wow.
And we're hoping it'll continue to do so now. Sports betting is more popular than ever.
Since 1980 in Las Vegas, sports betting numbers have only gone up.
Yeah, it's huge. An unbelievable business.
Never down.
The final number last year on Super Bowl Sunday, I think, was $93 million for the Super Bowl. I'd be very disappointed if we don't hit $120 million just on that one game.
And as it becomes available in more states, the audience for the cell phone apps and sports books becomes that much greater.
It's here to stay. Get used to it. Have some fun with it.
Westgate and South Point have told me that they're both expecting record numbers out of sports betting this year. And as Jimmy said, everybody wants a piece of the action. Reporting at Westgate Resort, John Dommel, 13 Action News.
Man, every one of those guys sounded like the last guy in the world to make a sports bet, right? It sounded like goofy guys, barely even knew what the sport was. But those are the guys that are betting now.
The Raiders' home opener will be right here.
Yeah, it was home opener. The Raiders' home opener was last week. All right, Mexico is celebrating Independence Day. Ding dong!
Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador bringing in the country's 211th anniversary of its Independence Day early this morning.
Wow.
The traditional Grito de Independencia, or Shout for Independence, took place in the Plaza de Zócalo of Mexico City. Once again, the massive Central Plaza was empty due to COVID-19 restrictions.
It sucks, right? Yeah, you got to get people out there. All right, Jeopardy. Mike Richards, right? The guy that was supposed to host and be the permanent host for Jeopardy. And then he got caught on some podcast talking about, some woman and took a shot at Jews or something like that. I think that's what it was, right? And then he got ousted.
Sony says Jeopardy's Mike Richards is immediately leaving his job as executive producer.
What?
The news comes a little more than a week after Richards was forced to step down as the new host of the game show. He gave up the hosting job after receiving backlash over comments he made on a podcast that many called sexist and offensive. Richards will also leave his role as executive producer of Wheel of Fortune. Richards taped 1 week's worth of Jeopardy episodes before stepping down, and those episodes are still set to air starting September 13th.
And I guess they're going to go with temporary hosts for this show.
Jeopardy winner Ken Jennings is getting a second shot at hosting the show. Sony Pictures Entertainment has announced that Jennings will share hosting duties with Mayim Bialik. Bialik will serve as the host starting Monday through November 5th. Jennings will then split duties with the actress through the end of the year, since the search for a permanent host is still ongoing.
Man, that's a long search, right? They've been searching for longer than they searched for the Titanic.
Presidential campaigns have lasted shorter than this. This is insane.
It's unbelievable. Just get somebody in there and let him stand there and read the cards.
I want it to be some off-the-wall choice. Like all these straight-up... Snoop Dogg would be a cool host of Jeopardy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Somebody... Snoop Dogg would be great, but somebody who doesn't know any of the questions or the answers, right? He's just totally amazed that anybody has that knowledge.
Yeah, somebody not smug at all, but who's there to kind of mess everybody up.
I have a friend of mine who's a writer and one of the smartest guys I've ever met. And he can watch Jeopardy and make a joke about the answer before the question's asked, or before the answer's given, I should say. But he went in and took the test to be on Jeopardy, and he got a 99 out of 100. And the one he missed was just a brain fart. He should have had it, and he just, it was a layup, and he just missed it. And so he called a week later, because they say, take the test and call a week later, and we'll see if we can get you on the show. And he calls, and he said, hey, so I got 99 out of 100. They said they're only taking people who got 100 out of 100.
That is a high bar.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, anytime you start to think you're pretty bright, watching Jeopardy will knock you down a few pegs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is fun to watch, though. And you're amazed by how much knowledge, these guys have. It truly is.
They're savants.
Amazing. Yeah, I think you're right. All right, we're live on KFI AM 640. More news now with Mark Ronner. KFI AM 640, it's Conway's show. If you have a Microsoft password, companies getting rid of passwords. Ding dong, right?
Microsoft users don't have to worry now about passwords. The company is getting rid of them. Users of services like Outlook and OneDrive will now have several options to log in, including a security app where you can actually use a biometric like a fingerprint scan or through unique login codes. Microsoft says there are nearly 18 billion attacks on passwords every year.
Wait a minute, what? 18 billion?
Microsoft says there are nearly 18 billion attacks on passwords every year.
There's only 7 billion people in the world. And there's probably only maybe a billion computers. Everybody gets hacked 17 times a year? Ding dong. All right, TikTok viral challenge, not going well. All right, this is the latest one.
It's the latest viral TikTok trend that has students destroying and stealing school property for likes and follows.
All right, this is not going to end well.
The destructive stunt known as the...
Before they used to kick you out of school for crap like this.
The destructive stunt known as the bathroom challenge involves students recording themselves trashing and taking items, then posting the videos with the caption "Devious Lick." These are videos from schools across the country, but it's also happening in schools here in the Southland, including Hart High School in Santa Clarita.
They've taken soap dispensers, and now most of the bathrooms are closed.
They just took the door, and then some people they took a fire extinguisher and they sprayed the walls.
It's kind of stupid. It's really stupid.
The principal here at Hart High School sent an email to parents asking them to speak with their students about how dangerous and costly the vandalism and thefts are.
That's where we are. Where now you have to send home a note to your parents saying that vandalism is not good. God almighty.
He said they've already suspended multiple students because of it.
It's just disappointing that it's like a trend.
Shirley Robez has 3 children at Hart High, and she read the principal's email.
I'm just glad that they're responding to it and they're just letting us know about it right away.
School district officials everywhere are now asking parents to get involved.
Can you imagine how pissed you would be if you got a note or you got called into school and your son or daughter is sitting in the principal's office, and you're like, hey, what happened? She busted the sink and busted open the soap dispenser and took a door off the wall. You're like, what the hell? Really? You did that? What's wrong with you?
At Foothill High School in Santa Ana, administrators are warning and asking parents to discourage this type of behavior and are even asking them to return any items their students may have stolen.
Well, kids will be kids.
Because of the ongoing problems, the video sharing platform has removed the devious lick videos. In a statement, TikTok says, "We expect our community to stay safe and create responsibly, and we do not allow content that promotes or enables criminal activities."
Well, it's not TikTok's fault, right? I mean, they're just showing the videos, right? So what? I'd like to see them, actually.
We are removing this content and redirecting hashtags and search results to our community guidelines to discourage such behavior.
The people at our school work so hard, and just honestly, this really costs a lot of money, especially for the students who stole it. They have to pay all that back. I bet their parents are really mad.
Yeah. I remember one of my brothers, we were up in Canada, and my brother went to the bathroom. I think he was a little buzzed, and he kicked the crap out of the bathroom, right? Took the soap dispenser and, knocked it out, busted up the whole place. And then he comes out, and the owner comes over and says, "Hey, did you bust up the bathroom?" And it was like that liquid pink soap.
I remember it.
And he goes, "No, it wasn't me. Why were you accusing me of doing that?" He goes, "Somebody said that you did it." And he goes, "Why would I do something like that?" Right? And he denied it. And I sort of believed him that he didn't do it. And then the band started playing, and they turned on black lights, and he had pink spots all over him.
Evidence.
Yeah, he looks like a clown, right? He had in his hair, in his pants, in his jacket. Everything had bright pink spots. It turned yellow with the black light on.
Oh, interesting.
Like, hey, I think you did that.
He thinks you're lying.
Right. He got kicked out of that place. It was called the Tilton Hilton in Erie, Ontario. And they kicked him out, but they didn't kick him out for the whole summer. They said, "You got to be out of here for a week." They gave him a week suspension.
Just a week?
Well, it's the only bar in town, so you really can't be too severe, right? And they kicked him out for a week. He had to pay for the soap dispenser. Then he's back in there a week later, right?
Did he learn his lesson, though?
I think he did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he did. Like a week out of the Tilton Hilton is tough. All right, we're live on KFI AM 640.
Unforgettable. That's the impression that you, the Rush Limbaugh audience, made with your support for Rush's last charitable effort while Rush was still with us. Through the Stand Up for Betsy Ross campaign, your generosity resulted in a $5 million donation to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Rush said it best.
We chose Tunnel to Towers to be the beneficiary of the campaign because we love the work they do and the story about how they started. When a family experiences significant loss, the mother or father passes while serving our country, Tunnel to Towers steps in, frees that family of a major worry during their time of crisis. Tunnel to Towers pays off mortgages in full for these families and provides them with the comfort of a home when their world has literally been turned upside down.
The foundation does the same for first responders and also builds smart homes for our most catastrophically injured veterans and first responders. More heroes need your help. Do good by donating $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.